Alright everyone, the European Union is hell-bent on ruining the internet just as it's hell-bent on ruining Europe. So now they've passed Article 13, which is like, pretty much everyone in the world other than greedy executives, a handful of very rich corporatists, and of course moneyed career politicians have stood against the idea of Article 13. Like independent content creators that technically kind of sort of can benefit by its provisions, like someone who goes viral for some meme or something. None of them are for it. I can't think of anybody that I know of within the creator community or as an extension of that. I've never seen anyone who actually significantly and actively supports Article 13. Not a single person. So I should give you some example of the disconnect between the European Union's governments and the European Union's people. Essentially, there are two provisions here. One is a link killing system. Essentially, in order to link out to like news and stuff, the idea behind it is technically sound. Groups like Google and similar features, they aggregate news links. And they give you descriptions that are long enough so that the idea is that a lot of people never even bother clicking through. They're reading the 2 or 3 sentence summary that's being given by Google or Bing's news aggregator or something like that. That's technically it makes sense. But the problem is that because it doesn't define anything very well, because it's so vague, it can be applied by the member states, by their legal systems, pretty much any way they want. What they will inevitably do, this is a guarantee, is that these companies will begin to conform to the most draconian interpretations of that particular part of the articles. The other one has to do with memes, image, copyright, like that. The idea that individuals have the right to profit, like, let's say somebody takes my image and they slap it into a meme and it goes viral and it starts generating what we know of as memes today. Like with Pepe. You have the original cartoon, someone makes a modified version of it it's not really the original frog from what's-his-name's cartoon, it's a variant. This gets adapted a million different ways. The originator of that Pepe meme could force websites to automatically begin charging people money, lawsuits, take images down, could literally sow havoc with things that go viral. Now the thing is, of course, if I'm an independent creator, I've created a meme or something, I don't want to do that. I want it to spread around with some form of attribution. The fundamental concept of being able to make money off your creation and a technical de facto copyright under this is a point defeated, though, because there's no way to actually apply it only in situations where the individual would want to. Because it's gone viral, if you get a million different variants of your image, which ones are giving you attribution and potentially income and stuff like that, benefiting you, how do you weed through a million images and find the ones that are doing that and then the ones that are just ripping you off and pretending it's their own work? There is no way, and again, the law can be interpreted in many ways. The problem is that because there are multiple EU member states, it doesn't matter if most of them go laissez-faire and they're like, well, this is only going to apply to a handful of big companies, only to a very small number of situations. We're not going to enforce anything else. The companies themselves, under the pressure of any one EU member state that wants to crack down further, which is inevitable, and it's inevitable that it'll crack down more and more, because of political reasons mainly, to stamp out criticism. The fact is that all of the other member states might as well take up the same draconian line. It no longer matters, because if I'm Google, and I'm going to get sued by one of these EU member states for not following, some copyright directive that doesn't make sense, I've probably lobbied against, but it's just completely nonsensical. I'm just going to preempt and say, okay, for EU users, that's going to happen. What they're going to end up having to do probably is shut Europeans out of a lot of their services. Europeans will begin to exist on a parallel internet that will be widely different from what we have here. Like, my content will still be available, but what if Depeche Mode decides that because I've got this thing on it that has technically a logo of theirs. Now, nobody's using this to rip off their logo. Nobody can scan this video and get an image of it and share it around and profit by it. I don't profit by it. I don't take ad revenue. It's just a decoration that I happen to have as a private individual in my own home office. Or what if the maker of this flag, the particular PNG image that was used to make this flag says, okay, well, we're going to start, charging money to Styx every video he makes. This is going to break the spine of the internet if it's widely applied. The problem is it will be widely applied. The only thing, therefore, that'll stand in its way, the only silver lining is that the U.S. might be forced to take draconian action to prevent U.S. firms from feeling this sort of abuse. It may require a mobilization of the U.S. government, and trust me, they're not going to mobilize out of a spirit of civic sense of patriotism or wanting free speech or, you know, protect the internet, it's a cool thing, and we want our funny memes. Yeah, that's okay, maybe in the back of their mind. Ultimately, it'll be down to money. That's the only thing now that can stop it. It's obvious grassroots activism on a mass scale did nothing to stop this. They repeatedly tried to ram it through. The only real bickering was about, like, minutia, legalistic language. It was never about the articles themselves. So now it has passed, and that's going to be terrible for the internet. Yes, this is the meme killer of the internet, which means that at least in Europe, you are now in the internet dark ages. It's just a matter of how dark those ages get, because what happens now is the individual member states are going to take up these articles, they're going to interpret it, they're going to work, you know, through it, they're going to take a look at it, find out how they're actually going to apply these. That means one member state might take a look at it and say, well, basically it means nothing at all, it's too vague, therefore we're not legally even going to enforce really anything from it. Copyright stands more or less intact. But all you need is one single member state to decide, yes, you know what? This doesn't protect even your small website from claims by small news aggregators. You must pay them if you put any link at all. This applies to things that would be considered news in only a roundabout way. This applies to pages that link to other pages that happen to be involved with that. This applies to plopping it in the description on a YouTube video, not just aggregating it in a news aggregator. Meme spreading. Well, this goes further than just the idea of an actual meme that you're posting as an image on a forum or something. If it's anywhere in a video and it's a copyrighted image, we want these companies to be forced to have software to automatically prevent it from ever even being uploaded. If you think that YouTube has problems right now with some draconian application in some cases, the misuse of copyright of intellectual property laws, this is going to be 1,000 times worse, especially if you're in Europe. And it will begin to affect other people, because there's going to be that interplay between these companies are going to try to appease the European governments, because it's a large internet market, and U.S. creators, Canadian creators, creators in countries that still have some concept of free expression. There is going to be a struggle between them. And of course, I'm squarely on the American side. I want an American-style internet, very laissez-faire, very non-censored, not taxed, not bureaucratized, not centralized. There's no problem with extremism on the internet. There's no problem with cyberbullying. Okay, it's been a problem the whole time. It's probably less prevalent now than it was 20 years ago, simply because it's cracked down on topically in a non-legalistic fashion. The problems, the fear-mongering that I see is going to tear the internet apart. I would rather not have to invest trillions of dollars over time to build a second internet. It just doesn't make sense when there's a perfectly good internet there. And it'll remain perfectly good if we apply U.S. copyright law only. And that should be relaxed too in many cases. That's about all. Peace out.